Bonjour students, I'm super happy to be here with you guys, and for those of you who have no clue who I am, I don't blame you. I'm not famous yet. Okay, so my name is Nitya and I'm a French tutor. That's kind of limiting it. I'm kind of crazy about French, so I spend a lot of my free time listening to French songs, watching French movies. That's how weird I am, okay? But having said that, I do love French. I love it as a language. I love the sound of it. I love writing it. I love reading it. You know, you get the flow. Okay. So, what I'm going to roll out here in this playlist of videos is CBSE 10th. Duh. I've already named my videos that, so you know it by now. So CBSE 10th videos. Now, why am I doing this? Because I think there's a huge lack of content. There's a scarcity of good content that's very precise and clear and, you know, with a bit of fun infused in it. So I thought, why not put it out there? Now, do I have the experience in doing this? Yes, definitely. Students of mine have gone on to get 90. What level you are when it comes to French. In this channel, we're going to look at it from, beginning from scratch, as if you did not know even a word of French. We'll be starting right from les articles définis, that's your les, l'apostrophe, le, la, and so on, and then take you all the way to the last lesson, all the while covering different aspects of grammar, your lessons, that's your culture et civilisation, right? Culture and civilization, and your, like we said, the letter writing, message writing, and so on. Okay, so are you ready for the ride? Yeah, awesome. So I'm super excited. As I told you, I'm quite crazy about French, and I do love the CBSE 10th syllabus quite a bit. I like the lessons, I like the variety of topics it covers, I like the vocabulary and so on. Okay, enough said. Maybe we can look at, this is an intro video just to, like I said, tell you who I am, tell you what I'll be looking at, and what are the books I'm using and so on. But maybe we could look at, give me a couple of minutes and we can look at, how we can effectively study. I'm presuming you're stepping into your 10th, right? So which means that you have an entire year to cover these lessons, in French, along with, of course, other subjects and exams and homework and all of that, definitely. So how do we pace ourselves? Right? So how do we learn for long-term memory and so on, right? So, and does it even matter and so on, right? So a little bit about my own journey. I studied French way back, maybe around 20 years ago, okay? In Alliance Française, I did 4 levels. That's run by the Embassy of France in different countries like India. I did it out of Chennai. So I did 4 levels. But the way I learnt it, or maybe I have a flair for languages, I don't know. the way I learnt it, it's just stuck on, okay? Like after 20 years, it's as if I just studied it yesterday, okay? But there were some, how should I say, nuances or some keys in that, hacks, which help the stuff stick to my brain. So I just wanted to share a few of that. As for me, I do speak a number of other languages. I speak English, Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, French. I speak a bit of Marathi as well. I'm learning Kannada now. So like I said, maybe I have life of languages, but even if you don't, it's fine. Okay. Right. So, yeah. So let's look at a few hacks, right? So couple of things that helped me. One was, of course, spaced repetition method. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's where you're not cramming stuff all at once or, going for it like 11th hour panic, adrenaline mode studying. We're not doing that. We're going to space our studies and then keep going back and revising the portion, right? So that your brain is getting more and more exposures to these new words and concepts and so on in French, okay? It's every word you learn in French is not different from meeting a new person. Say you meet a new girl called Andrea, okay? And then you meet her first maybe at school, okay? So you just like, hi, bye, and then you meet her again maybe on the street at a shop. So then you kind of see maybe how she dresses or how she talks to the shopkeeper, right? So you get to know a little bit more about Andrea, right? And then say you meet her at a birthday party. So you get to know her a little bit more than, she's hanging out with her friends and so on. So every word in French, every concept is also not different from meeting an Andrea, So the more times you meet the word through spaced repetition, okay, you get to know it more, you get to know it deeper, and it sticks in your brain, okay? So that has helped me a lot. The second thing that has helped me is how I want to do my learning, So for me, personally, what worked was, having stuff stuck on the walls, okay? Or even using a whiteboard marker, writing on my bathroom walls, things like that. So because I'm probably a visual learner, so I kind of remember what I see and what I read, okay? So if you're an auditory learner, if you learn through the ear gate, then you can play my videos on loop, or ask your friend to repeat the content for you, or you can record it in your own voice and repeat it so that you hear it more and more often. So the repetition also needs to happen in a way that will, stick for you, okay? And what else? French as a language, I mean, like any language, right? In the beginning, it's just a ton of gibberish, okay? You're just like, none of this makes sense. What are all these accents and cedillas and, why? French can be maddeningly complex, but it is actually rather simple, okay? So just like any language, initially the grunt work, okay? When you're putting in your work, you'll feel like, oh my God, this is just never ending, okay? But trust me, you will hit a level after which you will be stacking or building on previous knowledge, and the language will start to make sense. And in fact, even beauty, okay? You'll even start seeing beauty in the language, okay? But initially, we have to do that grunt work or the groundwork of, memorizing a bunch of nonsensical words and rules about French, okay? So just stick with it and trust me, it will be awesome, okay? There's one particular learner's curve that comes to mind where they talk about how learning is not a straight, upward sloping line, If you were to put it on a graph, learning would look like you'd first hit, okay, the mount of, or the peak of Mount Stupid, okay? So in the beginning, when you're learning anything, all the more French, you're going to feel super stupid about it, okay? You're going to feel like, I have no clue what I'm doing here, okay? And that is normal, okay? Think of any other skill that you've learned, maybe bicycling or, coding, right? Any other skill you've learned, you would have hit peak of Mount Stupid. That's like a high point, okay? And then you go through the valley of despair, okay? So there's like a woo, go up, and then a roller coaster, woo, and then there's this, drop, steep drop, okay? The valley of despair is where you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get through this, okay? I mean, not all students go through this peak of And peak of Mount Stupid is non-negotiable, by the way. But not everyone goes through a long valley of despair. Excuse me. Some of them have short valleys, some of them may not even hit a valley. Okay. And after that, you have the slope of enlightenment. Okay. That's when the slope comes up. Okay. You're slowly climbing so after you hit Mount Stupid and then the valley of despair, then you slowly start climbing up. Okay. Then as you climb up the slope of enlightenment, as they call it, it's like a gradual slope. Then you reach a plateau of competence. Then you reach a stage where you're like, yeah, I think I've got this. Okay, so anywhere around the 6-month mark of, attending my classes and so on, you'll reach the plateau of competence where you're like fairly confident. I could just do with a couple of revisions and I think I'm set. I think I'm done. Okay, so what will help this slope of enlightenment and plateau of competence also is having ready reckoners, right? Which is what I'm offering, where we're looking at one-pagers, lesson capsules, even your grammatical concepts are compressed into PowerPoint slides, which I will be sharing with you, So you have ready reckoners. While you learn a concept, you deep dive, you go into the exceptions. What's French without exceptions, right? You go into different aspects of a formula and so on. But for you to remember it, finally, I've compressed that entire topic, for example, les articles définis, into one PowerPoint slide, and so on. So everything is compressed to just one slide or one page, whether it's a lesson, that's your culture et civilisation, or your grammar topics, okay? So in the end, you're just browsing through single pages to revise and just refresh your mind, okay? So I think I've covered most of what I wanted to say. So I'll see you guys soon with lesson 1 in 10th CBSE. And I'm again super glad that you guys are here and hope to keep seeing you again and again. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.